Good morning, fathers of daughters. This is Ephraim B. Martin. I am 58 years of age, and I am the father of 4 adult daughters. Welcome to Girl Dad YouTube channel, and welcome to another live stream. Gentlemen, I hope you're ready today. This is going to be a very good live stream. Actually, all of my live streams are very good live streams. And we're going to be covering quite a bit of information today, gentlemen. Fathers of daughters, I welcome you. All fathers from all backgrounds, from all cultures, you are welcome, and I appreciate you. Today's live stream, fathers, we're going to be talking about traditional man versus social media engineered man. Let me say that again. Traditional man versus social media engineered man. Kind of excited about that. I've done a lot of research. I'm a legal researcher, y'all. So all the videos and the educational and instructional information that I'm leaving you, they're all research-based. They're not my opinions. They're research-based. And they're all fair use videos available on YouTube. So everything that I'm going to share with you today regarding the videos, they are all available in the description that I have. And they are all YouTube videos, and they're all fair use. So what I do at Girl Dad YouTube channel is I provide educational and instructional resources for fathers of daughters. That's what I do. That's how I get down. And I'm blessed. So I welcome all fathers. Thank you for being here. And we've got some real good videos today. So fathers of daughters, when I think about traditional men versus social media engineered men, what exactly am I talking about? I am talking about traditional men are men who get married, have a wife, have children, go to work every day. They may be divorced. They may be single fathers, okay? But they're taking care of their families. They love their children. They love their kids. Those are traditional men. Blue-collar workers, white-collar workers, just good men because they take care of their families and they take care of their kids. They're responsible men. And then we have men today that are social media engineered men. They're a part of the manosphere, aka red pill communities. And there's a bunch of them out there, right? So millennial and Gen Z men, you really need to be careful, and you really need to pay attention when it comes to the manosphere and it comes to the red pill communities that are out there, because these communities are very destructive. Last week, I addressed why on a live stream, I addressed why weak men come for our daughters. And I was talking about Gen Alpha daughters and Gen Alpha boys, sons. Because this is 2014 and they're getting ready to turn 14 this year. They were born in 2000 and this is 2024, I'm sorry. And they're going to return 14. So that's what I addressed last week. That video is also in my description as well. Got a lot of feedback last week. Got a lot of crazy comments on my YouTube shorts regarding why weak men come for our daughters. It's interesting. What I'm finding out, particularly with my YouTube shorts, because they're only 30 to 60 seconds long when they're being posted, I'm triggering a lot of men. And that's good. I think it's good because most of the men that are making comments on my YouTube shorts, when I go to their YouTube channels, the majority of them, I'm going to say 90% of them, they don't have children. So most of them are trolls, and they're trolling. And I'm used to it. I've got thick skin. But the one thing I'm not going to allow you to do is, if you come to my YouTube channel, you don't get to show up just for the sake of showing up. If you're going to make comments, don't have a problem with it. I'd love to share your comments. I would love to see your feedback. Be objective. Don't be negative. If you're going to be negative, defend your position. I've got a problem with weak ass men that can't defend their position, but they always got something to say. Right? And that is the majority in my mind. From the research that I've done, I've researched over 300 videos on Black male content creators. I'm a Black male. So that's what I researched. I researched all of the red pill, but I can only address Black men because I'm a Black man, right? And I'm going to do that. So the videos that I've researched, foolishness, nonsense from a bunch of Black weak ass men. To me, and my generation of men, I'm Gen X. When I get together with other Gen X men and we talk about the situation of fatherlessness in the United States of America, we talk about the situation, what's going on in the disconnect that my generation of Gen X men have with millennials and Gen Z. And one of the things that we see frequently is these young men were raised without fathers. And you can tell that they're raised without fathers because when you go to the manosphere and you go to the red pill communities and you start seeing the videos that are made by these content creators. For me, the Black male content creators, they're absolutely horrible. I don't know what their purpose is. I don't know. I don't know why they call themselves content creators, because all the information that they do and share is reaction videos, right? You pretty much, for instance, I'm doing a live stream. What these content creators do, they'll take my live stream and then they call themselves dissecting it and adding their commentary to it, their opinions, right? But it's not their content. I don't have a problem. I don't care who uses my videos or how they share them, because I'm the originator of my live streams, right? So I'm never going to cry to YouTube or go to YouTube and claim, oh, it's not fair use. These content creators are using my videos destructively, because they can't. None of these content creators can do what I do, because I'm a father of 4 adult daughters. I've raised 4 girls. Okay. So I know what I'm talking about. I also have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and economics, right? Professionally, I've worked with children and families from all socioeconomic backgrounds for 30 years. So these Black male content creators, they can't come for me. I dare them to, but they won't do it because they can't. Because most of them, they're weak ass men, right? Their content that they claim is theirs, it's weak ass content. And one of the things that I'm learning about YouTube, the more research that I do on content creation, and particularly the manosphere and the red pill, all of these men that are lying to Gen Alpha boys and Gen Z, they all know each other and they all appear on each other's platforms. One thing we need to understand, fathers of daughters, weak men hang around other weak men. They invite other weak men. They stick with other weak men. None of them are alphas. They're weak ass men, right? But what has happened with YouTube, since anybody with an opinion can create their own YouTube channel, this is what we're getting today. We got a bunch of grown-ass men who didn't have their fathers in their life, and they're gossiping like women. It is horrible. It is absolutely horrible. And the Black male content creators that I researched, they're the worst. So, fathers, I have a mission. My mission overall is to ensure that all fathers have a long-term sustainable relationship with their daughters. That's why I'm here. That's my purpose, right? See, I understand what my purpose is. I'm not going to get confused. I'm not going to be taken out of my game. I know what my purpose is. I'm here to help fathers. I'm here to help fathers transition with their daughters. I wrote a book, Daddy's Girls. It's available at Amazon.com. I would advise all fathers to purchase it that want to participate with the Girl Dad YouTube channel. Because once you read my book, it'll make a lot more sense. Plus my live streams. This is my 27th live stream since July of 2023. This is my 27th live stream. So I'm consistent. I do live streams every week. I feel good about doing my live streams because my YouTube channel is growing organically. It's amazing. And I appreciate all the feedback and everything that I'm getting, right? So I welcome all fathers. I want to thank all fathers, right? For putting in the work with their daughters, for putting in the work with their children. But with that being said, we still have a couple generations of men, millennials and Gen Z men, that they're just straight bullshit, a lot of them. They're straight bullshit. And having 4 adult daughters, speaking with my daughters all the time regarding relationships, what's healthy, what's not healthy. As a father of 4 adult girls, I'm not going to sit by and I'm not going to stand by and allow these bullshit men to attack women. I'm not going to allow them to come for women. I'm not going to allow them to talk crazy to women. I have 4 adult daughters. So for you Black male content creators that are part of the manosphere and the red pill communities, do what you got to do, right? I know you're weak ass Black man, and you know you're weak ass Black men. And that's why your YouTube channels are reaction, right? Because you provide entertainment. See, you're not interested in research, studies, or solutions. That's what I provide. Because research, studies, and solutions, I come from Gen X. That's how we get down. Research, studies, and solutions require work. They require dialogue. They require you to be analytically a thinker. They require you to be a free thinker. But you can't just be showing up just because you think you're good. All right, fathers. We have the very first video I'm going to show you. It's called How to Be a Man. I came across this video. I've probably watched this video a good 10 times because I learned something new every time that I watch it. So I want to share it with you, fathers. I have 4 good videos for you today that I want to share. And feel free to comment. I have no problem putting your comments up and sharing them with the world. All right, fathers, thank you, and let's do what we do. Here's the first video, fathers.
Paraban, and this is PsycHacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is how to be a man. It's a simple question, and one that 100 years ago would be ludicrous to ask, because back then, everyone just sort of knew what the answer was. But here we are in modern times, characterized, among other things, by an identity crisis in men. How we got here is extremely complex, but here is where we are. Now, some forms of masculinity, such as machismo masculinity, are fairly complex. This is because they are performances of an unwritten etiquette with evolving rules and standards. However, this form of masculinity, as much as femininity, is essentially performative. Neither is a natural suite of behaviors, and each is an expression of a particular time and place. These forms of masculinity and femininity can be learned, and skillful execution of their respective suites of behaviors both express and confirm status in men and women. Many of the answers you'll hear on the internet to the question of how to be a man correspond with performative masculinity. They are things that you can do to signify your man status with props, costumes, and postures. These could be things like grow a beard, lift heavy stuff, start a business, go fishing, go hunting, learn to start a fire, learn to drive a manual transmission, learn to seduce women, learn to fight, learn to shoot a gun, learn to grill a ribeye steak, talk knowledgeably about sports, drink beer and appreciate whiskey, etc. Now, I don't have a problem with any of those things. A lot of them sound fun and could prove beneficial to the individual in question. However, I do think that all of those responses suffer from defining masculinity essentially as a suite of behaviors, as a performance. Now, I have a different take on this question. As you can see, I'm not a guy who's very performatively masculine. I work with words in a very feminized profession. I've never played football or scaled a fish or roped a calf. However, when it comes down to it, I'm extremely masculine. And this is because what it means to be a man is very simple and only marginally associated with what you do or what you look like. Are you ready? To be a man is very simple. You need only two things. You need a spine and you need some balls. That's it. If you have a spine and you have some balls, then you're a man. And just so we're clear, I'm not talking literally. All humans have a spine and all males have balls. What I'm talking about is a spine and a pair figuratively. It's simple, but not necessarily easy. Let's talk about each one individually, shall we? First, what does it mean to have a spine? A spine means that you are willing to stand up. Anatomically, you need a spine to stand erect. Figuratively, you need a spine to stand up for what you believe to be true, which is, in your heart of hearts, who you are. And this, of course, presupposes that you actually know what you believe to be true, and this ain't easy. Most of the things in your head were put there by other people, and a lot of that stuff is total garbage. For most people, it takes years and years of patient self-study to learn what they believe to be true. So young guys get a pass here, though it's important to acknowledge that we tend to make their jobs harder by filling them up with so much distracting nonsense to begin with. However, there are many older guys, men who I speak with on a regular basis, who don't know what their values are, don't know what they believe to be true, and consequently don't know who the fuck they are. And how are you going to stand up for something if you don't know what that something is? Now, before I go any further, if you're liking what you're hearing, then please consider sending this episode to someone who might benefit from its message, because it's word of mouth referrals like this that really help to make the channel grow. And if you're liking what you're hearing, you can hit the super thanks button. It's those three little dots in the lower right-hand corner, and tip me in proportion to the value you believe you've received from this episode. I really appreciate your support. Now, having a spine also lets you know where you stand in relation to the universe. This is because as soon as you stand up, you cast a shadow, which situates you in a specific place between the heavens, literally the sun, and the earth, your immediate surroundings. Unless you are completely in line with the light, there is no way to avoid casting a shadow on this plane. Among other things, this means that as soon as you stand up, that is, as soon as you make it known who you are and what you believe in, you will attract an antithetical element in opposition to that, the shadow. People will disagree with you. People will disapprove of you. Some people will despise you. And the taller you stand, the more some people will threaten, attack, and seek to destroy you. This is part of the risk of standing up and having a spine. And this, of course, is why we rightly respect people who stand up for what is right, despite the personal risk of doing so. What's strange is that the alternative to doing this, that is remaining spineless, isn't all that great either. You go through life never really knowing who you are and what you believe in. Now, it often happens that some people do know who they are and do know what they believe in. However, they're never able to find their place in the world because they weren't willing to stand up from their hiding places and say, this is me. This is because doing so requires the second ingredient, a pair of balls. Having a pair means that you're willing to suffer the risk associated with being somebody, a specific individual with values and beliefs. It means putting your money where your mouth is. It means not giving a shit whether you agree with me or disagree with me, not giving a shit whether you approve or disapprove of me, not giving a shit if you love or hate me. It means, if necessary, putting your money, your relationships, your career, your status, your reputation, and even your life on the line in the service of what you believe to be true. If you have a spine with no balls, you spend your life hiding from your friends, hiding from your women, and ultimately hiding from yourself. While you technically can't do anything to earn respect, in the sense that you cannot make someone respect you, especially if, for whatever reason, they have a mind not to, you can significantly increase the probability that you will garner respect from other men and from women in general by having a spine and growing a pair. We respect those who are willing to hold the line and stand up for what they believe in, regardless of the consequences. Paradoxically, we like those who don't seem to care whether we like them or not. On the other hand, we typically have neither respect nor appreciation for those who do things so that we might like them. Let's recap. If you know who you are, what you believe to be true, and if you're willing to stand up and risk it all in the service of those beliefs, in the service of your mission, then congratulations, my friend, you are a man. You do not need to grow a beard. You do not need to hunt or care about football or drink everyone under the table or plow through half the women in town. You need a spine and some balls. If you have all the other things, but you don't have a spine and some balls, then you're not a man, in my opinion. And if you have none of those other things, but you do have a spine and some balls, then you're a full-fledged man. Hopefully, that clears some things up. What do you think? Does this fit with your own experience? Please let me know in the comments below. And if you've gotten this far, you might as well like this episode and subscribe to this channel. You may also consider becoming a channel member with perks like priority review of comments or booking a paid consultation. As usual, thank you for listening. I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this.
So, fathers, what are your thoughts, fathers of daughters? I so appreciate that video. I could not have said that better myself. Dr. Orion. If you want to get a hold of him, if you want to watch more of his channel, it's in the description. He's on point. A pair of balls and a spine. What more needs to be said? What more needs to be said? That was an excellent video. Objective, on point, honest, truthful. I wonder how many millennial and Gen Z men can even comprehend that video. It's not even about agreeing. I'm just curious as to how many can comprehend it. Because I got to tell you, these 300 videos I researched, I'm so bothered by them. I am just so bothered. I've got a problem with men that lie to younger men to get them on what they call their page, to get them to buy their products that they're selling on YouTube, to get them to buy their programs on YouTube. Because these are weak-ass men. And like I said, being a black male and coming across all these other black content creators that are part of the manosphere and the red pill communities, y'all some busters. Straight up, you're weak. You know you're weak. And you know what you're doing is wrong. And you know what you're doing is foul. But you're doing it anyway. Because you didn't have fathers. That's why you're doing what you're doing, black men, content creators that are part of the manosphere. I'm going to crash you. That's what I want to do. I want to crash you because you're bullshit men. And as a father of daughters, I've got a problem with that. I've got a huge problem with that because none of you brothers are offering research studies or solutions. How is it I researched 300 videos and then I didn't come across any research? Because y'all don't research. And you sure as hell don't read any books. So if you didn't go to college, you don't research, you don't read books, you're credible how? Because none of you are journalists. None of you have a communication or a journalist degree. You have a YouTube channel, 200, 300,000 subscribers that follow your foolishness and nonsense. But none of you provide solutions. And you gossip like women. The weakest Black men of all the generations of Black men are millennials and Gen Z. Y'all are horrible. You're absolutely horrible. And it's interesting. You know, I'm always told, you're an old head. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay, cool. But you can't defend the indefensible. You can hide behind your YouTube channels. You can say whatever you want to say. You can bring all the entertainment you want to bring. That's your business. But at some point, you're going to be held accountable. This is what's interesting. YouTube is coming down on a lot of these men in the manosphere and their pages coming for women. They're shutting them down. They're demonetizing them. And what's happening for a lot of these men that are being demonetized, they're crying. They're complaining about YouTube. Oh, YouTube isn't fair. First of all, YouTube doesn't owe any of us a goddamn thing. YouTube is free. So you're either going to comply with how they have things set up or go start your own and do it your way. But what you don't get to do, you don't get to blame YouTube and I hear so many of these Black men, you're crying racism. That's interesting. You're crying racism as a Black man on YouTube in the manosphere, in the red pill communities, but yet you're pimping these men, these younger men, you're pimping them. So how is it you can get racism and being a pimp in the same category? How does that work, Black men? I'm asking you millennial and Gen Z Black men that are part of the manosphere. How do you get to cry racism as a Black man? How does that work? What does that look like? Y'all ain't gonna answer it because you know what? You're monetizing. All of you Black male content creators that have these large platforms, over 100,000, you all got Cash Apps, you all got PayPal, you all got Patreons, right? That's the newest hustle for so many of you Black men, because I believe that not many of you work, not many of you actually have jobs that you go to every day, right? You consider yourselves high value men, whatever the hell that is. Oh, that's right. According to you, high value men are men that have stuff, cars, clothes, but you don't have a career. You haven't put in any work. So what you do, or what has happened, is you ended up on YouTube and you figured out, you know what? Let me see if I can make this hustle work. Because if I can make other Black men pay my bills, support me, give me $5 here, $1 there, and I have 100,000 of them, hey, that's a lot of money. That's unaccounted for. And that's a lot of money I get to spend. Come on. Y'all foolish, man. For real. I just, as a father of daughters, I'm not having it. I'm not. You brothers, don't come for me, man. Because none of you're not ready for a brother like me. I'm older and I'm wiser. And all that bullshit that y'all selling, y'all ain't ready for me. Because I promise you, if you come for me, you got the right one. I am a legal researcher. I research everything. I have research. That's my background. So You just need to stay in your lane. Since I'm an old head, I'll stay in my lane, and you black male content creators that are part of the manosphere and the red pill communities, stay in your lane because y'all ain't ready for a brother like me. The older black men that are part of the manosphere and red pill communities, you should be absolutely 100% ashamed of yourselves. Y'all's asses are too old to be doing what you're doing. How are you in your 50s? And you trying to hang out with younger men in their 20s and 30s. That's crazy as hell to me. You brothers haven't grown up yet. You're not taking accountability. You're still bashing women. You're doing shit that you did when you were in your 30s. Black man, come on. And the problem is none of y'all are being held accountable. That's the problem. You come to YouTube, you say whatever the hell you want to say, do whatever it is you want to do. And then when it doesn't work out for you, you want to cry racism. Make it make sense. Make it make sense, black man. Come on now. Fathers of daughters. I got to come hard. I have to come hard. Because the foolishness that is going on out there and the attack that's coming for our daughters and the disrespect that comes with our daughters, I'm not having it. I will not. I will not stand by, and I will not sit by and allow these punk ass men, because that's what most of them are. They're punk ass men. I'm not having it. I'm not. I'm bothered. I am so bothered by them because they're weak. Okay, fathers, let me bring you back. We got another video that's coming up. Give me let me set it up here. It's by Jordan Peterson. I really appreciate Jordan Peterson. I know a lot of feminists have issues with Jordan Peterson because they think he's misogynist and a bunch of other things, but I appreciate Jordan Peterson. I appreciate his perspective. I am a free thinker. So I appreciate other humans that don't think like me and don't look like me and will challenge my mind. That's what I appreciate. So I appreciate Jordan Peterson and what he brings to the table. Okay. Here's the next video. Fathers of daughters. Here we go.
If you take children and you group them together in in groups defined by age, so let's say you have 32-year-olds, 33-year-olds, 34-year-olds, all the way up to 18. And then you watch them interact and you code their behavior for kicking, biting, fighting, and property theft, then what you'll find is that the 2-year-olds are by far the most aggressive of the lot. So that's pretty interesting, you know, because you think, well, children are naturally peaceful, and if they're aggressive, it's because they learn it. It's like, no, that's true for a small minority of children. But there's a substantial number of children who are aggressive at 2 by nature. Most of them are male. Now, that doesn't mean most children are like that, because they're not. Even if you look at 2-year-olds who are the most aggressive human beings, most 2-year-olds aren't aggressive, but some of them are. And most of those are male. Okay, so then let's say you identify this cohort of aggressive 2-year-olds and you track them across time, track them for the next 2 to 4 years, or track them until they're 4 years old. What you find is the vast majority of the hyper-aggressive male 2-year-olds get socialized perfectly well. So by the time they're 4, they're temperamentally probably still more aggressive, but they've become civilized little monsters, so other people can tolerate them. And that means that they've had parents or peers or educational experiences that enabled them to learn how to interact productively with other kids and to bring their aggressive nature under control. Some of that seems to be mediated by the opportunity to engage in rough and tumble play. And that's one of the things that we know that helps socialize rats, for example. It's vital to them, but it also seems to really be good for socializing young kids. And rough and tumble play, which is something that adult males particularly like to do with young kids, by the way, not before 9 months because they're just too little, but once they become ambulatory and, you know, kind of puppy-like so that they're a little bit more robust, then you can play a lot with them, and you can play with them right at the edge of danger too, which kids they absolutely go nuts for that. They love that. So when I had little kids, I made this kind of wrestling ring out of these two couches that we had that would hook together. And I'd bring them on there and, you know, toss them up in the air and catch them, you know, 8, 10 feet. No, a foot in the air and catch them. And they'd go like this. And then, you know, I'd catch them and they'd laugh and I'd throw them up and they're all freaked out. And then they'd laugh. And, you know, so they're learning trust with that in an embodied way. And they're also learning, and this is from stretching them out and wrestling them and twisting them around and letting them pull on your hair and hit you and all of those things. They learn deep in their bones exactly what can hurt them and what doesn't. And you want to kind of push them to the edge, you know, so that they can tell the difference between what hurts and what's still within the realm of the game. And you do the same thing when they're wrestling with you. So they learn not to, you know, awkwardly stick their thumb in your eye or do things that are actually painful, like grab your lip and pull it. You know, it's like, no, you let go of my lip, you know. And so that seems to help regulate the aggressive impulses and help the child find a more appropriate embodiment. You could think that what you're doing in some sense when you're rough and tumble playing with kids is teaching them how to dance, because that is what you're doing. You know, you're making them comfortable in their bodies in all of its extension and building in that kind of body fluency that you see in people who are well situated inside themselves. And so that's something to really think about, you know, and it's appalling. We know that the ability to engage in rough and tumble play among rats inhibits aggression, impulsive aggression among rats. We also know that if you deprive rats of the opportunity to engage in rough and tumble play, they show prefrontal cortical developmental deficits and manifest behaviors that are akin to attention deficit disorder, which you can then treat with Ritalin. And so one of the things that's happening with boys, because they're way more dosed with attention deficit disorder medication than girls, is that their natural proclivity to engage in robust and troublesome active play isn't appropriate for a school environment where you're just supposed to sit down and shut up. And so the kids get hyperactive. And instead of letting them out to run around until they fall over half exhausted, which is exactly what you should do, you know, you medicate them so that their exploratory systems, which are the activity of which is facilitated by the dopaminergic agonist, that's the ADHD medication, suppresses the play function. It's absolutely appalling. There's no excuse for it. You know, but it's a good indictment of the education system, because why in the world would you take 6-year-old kids and get them to sit without moving for 5 hours? Unless you want them to grow up fat and stupid, why in the world would you train them to do that? Well, it's easier. That's one thing. You know, and when they're sitting there, there's nothing disruptive about the rough and tumble play, and that can be quite, you know, play can be quite disruptive. So anyways, most of these kids are reasonably well socialized by the time they're the age of 4. Using one mechanism or another. They learn how to regulate their aggression, and they learn how to engage in fictional play structures with other kids. They learn how to cooperate and compete. And the advantage to having a well-socialized disagreeable person is that they really don't let much get in their way. So if you can get a kid who's disagreeable socialized, that person can be quite the creature, you know, because they're very forward moving in their nature and very difficult to stop. But if you don't get them successfully domesticated, tamed, roughly speaking, by the time they're 4, their peers reject them. And that's a big problem, because your job as a parent is to make your child socially desirable by the age of 4. Like you want to burn that into your brain, because people don't know that. That's your job. And here's why. It's easy if you think about it carefully. So you imagine you've got a 3-year-old child, so sort of halfway through that initial period of socialization, and you take that child out in public. Okay, what do you want for the child? Who cares about you? What do you want for the child? You want the child to be able to interact with other children and adults so that the children are welcoming and smile and want to play with him or her, and so the adults are happy to see the child and treat him or her properly. And if your child's a horrible little monster because you're afraid of disciplining them, or you don't know how to do that properly, then what they're going to do is they're going to experience nothing but rejection from other children and false smiles from other parents and adults. And so then you're throwing the child out there into a world where every single face that they see is either hostile or lying. And that's not something that's going to be particularly conducive to the mental health or the well-being of your child. If your child can learn a couple simple rules of behavior, like don't interrupt adults when they're talking too much, and pay attention, and try not to hit the other kids over the head with the truck any more than is absolutely necessary, then, and share and play properly, then when they meet other kids, the kids are going to try out a few little play routines on them, and that's going to go well, and then they're going to go off and socialize each other for the rest of their lives. Because that's what happens, is that from 4 years old onwards, the primary socialization with children takes place among other children. And so if the kids don't get in on that early, they don't move into that developmental spiral upwards, and they're left behind. And you can imagine how terrible that is, because a 4-year-old will not play with another 4-year-old who's 2. But a 5-year-old certainly will not play with a 5-year-old who's 2, right? Because the gap is just starting to get unbelievably large. And so the kids start out behind, and then the peers leave them behind, and then those kids are alienated and outside the peer group for the rest of their life. Those are the ones that grow up to be long-term antisocial, right? They're already aggressive. It doesn't dip down. Now, what happens to normal boys, roughly speaking? Imagine the aggressive 2-year-old types. They get socialized, so their level of aggression goes down, and then they hit puberty and testosterone kicks in, and bang, levels of aggression go back up. And so that's why males are criminals between the ages roughly of 16 and about 25. So, and it matches the creativity curve, by the way. It's so cool. If you look at the spike of creativity among men, 16 to 25, and it starts to go down, criminality matches that absolutely perfectly. So that's quite cool. So, and so the testosterone levels raise the average level of aggression among men. It's more dominance than aggression, actually, and testosterone is by no means all bad. And then it starts to decrease at about age 25 or 26, which is usually when men stop staying up late at night, stop drinking as much, develop a full-time career, and take on the burdens and responsibilities and opportunities that are associated with a long-term partner and family. And so, well, so that's the development of what I would call predatory aggression, because I also think that the agreeableness distribution is probably something like predatory aggression versus maternal sympathy. It's something like that. So if you look at other mammals that are predators, because we're predators as well as prey animals, if you look at other animals like bears, the male bear has absolutely nothing to do with the raising of the infants. In fact, the female bears will keep the male the hell away, because he's likely to kill the infants and maybe even to eat them. So there's no maternality at all in solitary male mammalian predators. Now, it depends on how social they are, but roughly speaking, that's the situation. Whereas with human beings, males are quite maternal. So, but anyways, I think the extreme of agreeableness on the low end, so disagreeableness, is predation, and the extreme on the upper end is maternal caring. And so, and those two things compete, right? Obviously, it's very difficult to be both of those at the same time. And so men, of course, in the wild, so to speak, are very, very few women hunt in modern societies or in archaic societies. And you can also understand why that is, because hunting actually requires hurting something, killing it. And it's usually something that's not very impressed about being hurt or killed, and that will emit a lot of distress while it's happening. And so for anybody who's compassionate, who's got compassion as one of the fundamental elements of their temperament, that's something they're just not going to be able to tolerate at all. So there's, in the evolutionary landscape, because that's really what we're talking about, there's tension behind the development of different modes of being in the world. And if you're good at one thing, that sometimes means that you can't be good at the other thing at the same time.
Fathers, what are your thoughts? What are you thinking? Jordan Peterson. Most feminists have a problem with Jordan Peterson. I believe the reason that most feminists have a problem with Jordan Peterson is because he provides solutions. I've looked at many of his videos, and this man provides solutions. He's a walking professional, and he knows what he's talking about, and he knows what he's doing. My thing is, I'm down with any man that provides solutions, regardless of their color or skin. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're Asian. I don't care if you're Native American. I don't care if you're Latino. If you're about solutions and it's going to help people become better, I'm in. I don't care where it comes from. What I will do is I will share, because that's what I do on my YouTube channel. One of the things that I'm going to make sure that I'm consistent with is my weekly live streaming. And let me tell you why. I think it's important. I think what I bring to YouTube is very important, and I believe that it's necessary. And I know there's a lot of fathers that they just need help because they don't know what to do with their baby girls a lot of times. This is new for them and this is new to them. So they're trying to figure a lot of things out. I want to keep fathers of daughters engaged, and I want to keep fathers of daughters motivated to always do what's right in what's in the best interest of their baby girls. Because we have so much foolishness and so much nonsense in this world with men that are coming for our daughters. So fathers of baby girls, we have a lot on our plates, and it's not going to be easy. I can promise you it's not going to be easy. And every generation is going to do things differently. And there's always going to be, when the manosphere and the red pill goes away, something's going to replace it. So I just believe with the proper education and information, most fathers can make a better informed decision when it comes to their baby girls. Because if we come together as man, that's our commonality. That's what we share as fathers. We have that commonality. And we just got to be consistent. That is one of the most important things, is consistency. Without consistency, we can't get anything done. It's just not going to happen. So fathers, I'm hoping to fill a void, and I'm hoping to help fathers understand the sense of urgency that we must have and have to have in order for the safety and protection of our daughters, and ensuring and keeping them away from these men in the manosphere and the red pill communities, because they're dangerous. You can't call it anything else. They're dangerous. It's crazy. So that's one of my mini goals, fathers. Okay, we have 2 more videos, fathers. Let me get them set up. Fathers, just wanted to let you know that I do understand a lot of fathers may want to participate on my YouTube channel.
Just don't know why you're doing it,
but may be nervous because of the fear of repercussions. And the only thing I want to tell you is never fear repercussions when you're doing the right thing. It may not be ideal for a lot of folks to make comments. You could be behind the scenes, and that's fine. You don't have to do that. But if I could help fathers, that's what I'm doing, and that's what I'm down with. So I don't care what the world thinks. I've raised 4 successful adult girls. They're adult women. I know what it takes. I know what it requires. And I just want to pass on what I know. I believe that my book, Daddy's Girls, is a blueprint on the sense of urgency that we need to have. And that's why I wrote it. So if YouTube was to go away tomorrow, I still have my book. And I'm still going to be able to help fathers of daughters. Okay, fathers, this next video Here we go.
Just how triggering are our phones when it comes to dopamine?
Okay, great question. We often hear that, that social media is getting dopamine hit after dopamine hit. When we first get on social media for the first time or after a long period of time, the amount of dopamine that's released we think is quite substantial. It's novel. Remember, dopamine is about novelty, surprise, and the sense that we are on some exciting track. That's what dopamine is really about. It puts us into states of readiness, anticipation, looking, seeking, etc., almost always for things outside the confines of our skin. Just to contrast it maybe for a bit more of a future discussion, serotonin does the opposite. When there's a lot of serotonin in our brain and body, typically it makes us feel satisfied, sated, and more quiescent, comfortable with what we have in our own immediate sphere and within us, right? The comfort of a good meal, the food you have. Dopamine is about go, go, go. If you look at somebody who's high on cocaine or methamphetamine, it's all about pursuit, because that's a very dopaminergic drug. You look at somebody who's taken a drug, and I'm not suggesting people do this, but that really ramps up serotonin. Let's say a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, Prozac, Zoloft, et cetera. The side effects of those drugs, if the dosages are too high, lack of appetite, lack of libido, kind of meh about life, then so they'll adjust the dose down. That's because those are serotonergic drugs. So in general, when we are in pursuit of things, dopamine is quite high. So now you have to remind me your question, because I've set up the dopamine serotonin parallel.
Smartphones.
Cell phones, yes. Forgive me. So the thing about cell phones is when you first get on there and you haven't, let's say no Wi-Fi on the flight or something, and you land, it can actually be quite stimulating. You get a lot of dopamine. Oh, there's this. Oh, there's that. But very quickly, when you're scrolling on social media, you're no longer getting the novelty, but you're continuing to do it, and you almost don't know why you're doing it. At that point, it shifts over to something that's a bit more like an obsessive compulsive behavior, where we can define an obsessive compulsive behavior where the obsession leads to a compulsion. So the obsession is a thought, the compulsion is a behavior, but the acting out of the compulsion merely serves to increase the obsession, right? This is very different than being obsessed with food or obsessed with cleanliness.
There's no payoff.
Right, exactly. There's no anxiety relief by carrying out the compulsion. With OCD behaviors, like scrolling social media, the dopamine quickly wanes, and then you find that you're just and we've all been there, you're scrolling, like, why am I doing this? This isn't that interesting. This isn't that interesting. Now, the algorithms for social media are very clever, and I don't want to demonize it. I, provide a lot of my life is spent on, on social media now, but in the algorithms that they've incorporated function on the most powerful way to keep people doing a behavior, or an animal for that matter, is intermittent random reward, or random intermittent reward, that you don't know when you're going to hit the jackpot. So you're scrolling, and then you see something. Typically it's very high, what, in nerd speak, we'd say signal to noise. So if you're reading some interesting things, this came out in the news, this came out, and then it's all of a sudden a riot, or a person that is base jumping off a building, or for people that are scrolling, looking at bodies or something like that, live bodies. Hopefully people aren't looking at dead bodies. But look, if something's very tragic, then that has this gravitational pull. And then what happens is you start getting the system working for that next dopamine hit that you don't know when it's going to come. It's just like gambling. So I look at social media as initially being very dopaminergic, driving reward, surprise, and excitement, but very quickly transitioning to something more like OCD. And the kinds of behaviors where it looks, if we were to look at ourselves through the lens of an experiment, like we would an animal experiment, we think that animal is sick. If you saw an animal digging in the corner, looking for a bone, the dog is looking, you'd think that's really sad. That's us.
What's happening, people? If you enjoyed that, then press here for the full unedited episode. And don't forget to subscribe. Peace.
Fathers, 3 really good videos so far. Educational, informational. We need to be aware, fathers, of what's out there coming for our daughters. We do. Our jobs require the protection and safety of our daughters, our livelihoods require the protection and safety of our daughters. So we have a lot to get done, fathers. That was a very interesting video. Fathers of daughters, do you really think about how powerful social media platforms are? And the whole social media engineering that's being done to all of us. And just think about all the people that are on social media, all the YouTube channels that exist. Because now people have a voice who didn't have a voice before. It's not a bad thing. I'm all for it. But I also have to recognize when you allow individuals to participate, not all individuals are going to be participating for the right reasons. It's just not going to happen because we're human beings. And that's just how human beings get down. But if you really, really think about it, fathers, if you think about how powerful social media platforms are, it's crazy. It is really, really crazy. And you're talking about dopamine and serotonin and how it affects the brain and how it makes people react. And it's just crazy. And I'm providing a variety of different videos from different perspectives so you have a clearer understanding. And please, fathers, you have to always do your own research. YouTube is free. So you have to do your own research. You have to challenge yourself. You just can't be sitting back and waiting for everything to drop in your lap. We have a lot of work to do, fathers. Okay? So, fathers, I have one more video that I want to share with you. It's about 10 minutes long, I believe. I think it's 10 to 12 minutes long. And these gentlemen, I'm so glad and thankful for them. They're OGs. Okay? Let me get it set up. Okay, let me see. All right, fathers of daughters, this last video that I'm going to share with you, I'm sharing it because I think it's needed. And it's definitely necessary. Okay, let me try this again. It didn't come up. I'm still getting better at this technology, fathers. I'm getting much better with my live streams, and I'm getting better with this technology. Okay, let me see. All right, let me try this again. No? Okay. Give me a second, fathers. I'm trying to pull this video up, and it's not allowing me to do it. Let me try again. Let's see. Hopefully it'll come up this time. Bear with me, fathers. Bear with me. That's not it. Okay, let me try something else. Okay, let me see. Sorry about this, fathers. Trying to get this video pulled up. Let me pull it up by this. Hopefully. Let's see. No, it's not the one I want. Sorry, fathers. Give me a couple more seconds here, so I can try to pull this up. This is a great video. Okay, why isn't it? Let me see. Okay, fathers, if I can't pull up this last video, I'm going to end my live stream, but I don't want to do that. I want to, let me see if I could let me try this.
I want to talk about
Okay, I think that's it. Let me see. Is that it? No. Let me see. Can I get it there? Let me stop that. Let me try this. Still not coming up, huh? Let me see. Okay, fathers, I'm almost there. Be patient, please, please. I'm almost there, fathers. I promise. Almost there. It was a little challenge, but I'm almost there. Let me go here. Okay. Okay, I believe, let me see. There we go. Okay, fathers, I got it. Thank you for being patient. I apologize. Let me pull this up.
back, brother. You're back.
And enjoy this video, fathers.
I want to talk about the art of discretion, because we live in an era right now where people are all over Instagram, Facebook, all over YouTube, and they want to share receipts like all day long. They want to clout chase and they want to show everybody all what they got. They got stacks of cash, everything else. My question is to you OGs, is it important for young people to be concerned with how they advertise themselves on the internet? Whoever would like to start that one.
I'll go first. Yeah, my whole thing is this: they advertise, and it kind of goes with Bud was saying earlier a few minutes ago. These motherfuckers advertise themselves to be bitches. That's what they're advertising. They advertise themselves to be weak, soft. They advertise themselves to be thirsty and needy. They advertise themselves to have no fucking experience with women. They advertise themselves to be thirsty and just a punk, just a bitch. That's the advertisement. They advertise themselves not to ask what they want. They don't stand on shit. So they should be They should be shutting their fucking ass up and waiting for their nuts to drop from their stomach and learn from old motherfuckers that know the game. But The problem is these young motherfuckers think they in the game or about the game, and they don't know shit about what's going on. So their advertisement is a bad advertisement because they're stuck in this media world where everything's quick and you don't have to work hard and you just get it by pressing a button. So they got the game all twisted. They don't even understand that the women know the game more than they do, and that's why the women are running these motherfuckers.
That's facts. That's facts. How about you, Dino? What do you think? Dino.
Me
Okay.
personally, I used to put my stuff out there. Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, you know, for me, I used to put my stuff out there. All right. And I realize now that, you know, sometimes the more you show, the less there is to have an element of surprise or the unknown. And sometimes people be putting stuff out there that's not even true. So we don't even know what's true. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I stopped all that. Honestly, I pretty much just promote my business, my podcast that my wife and I have. And that's about it. You know, everything else, I don't need people to like me. I don't need people to, you know, agree with me. Of course, you know, that's not what I'm about. I'm going to do me, period.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Appreciate that, Dino. Appreciate it. Go ahead, Rosebud.
Okay. Discretion. That was the question.
Yes.
It is important to be discreet. But see, this is why there's no discretion being portrayed by anybody, because they make it such a thing that it's supposed they separate it from life. Otherwise, the only necessity in life is being real, being true to yourself. And if you're true to yourself, you're going to automatically be discreet, because you're not going to have to hide shit. You're not going to be doing nothing undercover. You ain't going to be doing nothing wrong, because you're a real man and your shit is on Front Street. I could give a fuck who knows what I'm doing, because ain't nobody knowing what I'm doing. They gonna only know what I'm saying, because I say so much shit that go over their motherfucking head. They wonder what I'm doing. What I'm saying is I don't take words and use this word and make it mean anything to me. I use whatever word, discretion. Hey man, I gotta be discreet when I, say this. Well, okay, I'm gonna be discreet. I ain't gotta say that. I ain't gotta tell somebody or remind somebody that I gotta be discreet. I know this from being a man. So if you put yourself first, like I teach, I'm first, I'm second, I'm third, and you might could be fourth. That's me.
I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that. AB, go ahead. We'll say Steve for last.
Oh, okay. I just want to cut in and elaborate on that a little bit.
Go for it. Go for it.
Yes, sir.
No, I was going to say that when you're not discreet, that gives others, women, men, business people, the element to manipulate you, exploit you. They know how you move. They know what you like. They know your dislikes. They know how to take advantage of you. So the less that they know about you, the better it is for you. So that's why I am discreet.
And you can get played real fast. That shit you talking is dead. Them motherfuckers know everything about me, and they can't play me. You know what? You know why they can't play me? Because they know everything about me. And when they don't know shit about you, they play little games. When they know everything about your motherfucking ass, they decide to fuck with you or not. Yeah,
that's a very important.
Hey,
you let people know what you want them.
Hey, bro, I don't want to go back and forth with you. I'm just telling you what's square. I know what the hell is square and what ain't. And that shit you said.
You're not going back and forth. I'm just giving you my opinion. Check it out. See, the smart and wise person will give you what they want you to know, and you use it to your advantage. But everybody don't know everything about my life. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, but it's not about what you want to give. It's what they need to know. Because they look, I don't give much of anything, but they know don't fuck with me. They know I'm not that motherfucker that I'm not gonna let you walk all over me like a rug or some shit like that. You don't need to know a lot about me, but you need to know that I demand respect out of everybody I deal with. And that's what I'm gonna treat you the way I want to be treated, but don't take my kindness for weakness. So I see what you're saying as far as you don't want to let people to know about you, but at the end of the day, like I find with Bud is, I'm not going to put words in Bud's mouth, but where I see where Bud's coming from my perspective is that I want you to know that I'm not that motherfucker to be fucked with. Period. Even if you don't know about me, you know of me and know that this motherfucker here ain't one to fuck with. That's
one thing I want to correct.
That makes sense.
He said he demand respect. No, he commanded. It's a difference. Steve the Dean command respect. I command respect. I'm not gonna tell you, motherfucker, you better respect me. I'ma just come in the door in the way I carry myself. You're gonna give me respect. You're gonna just show me respect because I know what commanding respect is. I know what demanding respect is. Steve don't need to demand it. He will, just like I will. I ain't no punk, but I'm way more than any label. I'm a man. I'm a real motherfucker and natural. That's my goddamn acronym for man.
Let me go next on this one. I do appreciate the contrasting viewpoint. That's what we need anyway. I will say this. I've gotten to a point now where I know exactly who to deal with. Okay? I ain't fucking, if I don't like the way you talk, the way you move, the way you live, your habits, you won't need to know nothing because you ain't gonna talk to me. You ain't gonna talk to me. So I don't need to tell you shit because you ain't gonna be in my life. Okay, that's number one. So whoever I select to be in my life, they will know everything because I selected you to know everything. So just keep that in mind. When you know yourself inside and out and you've done all that necessary work, you will be very naturally very selective of who you even talk to. I can look at a motherfucker on the street and just watch how he's walking and just be like, okay, I can't talk to this dude. I wouldn't even be bothered with that dude. So the thing is that once you get to that point where you are so in love with the man in the mirror that you wouldn't even dare sit with somebody that's going to bring you any kind of drama or mess or toxicity or any of that, you don't even need to talk to them at all. I got family members I barely talk to. I love them from a distance, but we're different people. I got friends I've known for 30 years. I don't care if I ever see them again, but I still pray for them. I still send them blessings from my neck of the woods. They don't even know I'm praying for them, but they wake up the next day and a blessing pops in their life because that came from me. So what I'm telling is that I'm very selective of who I deal with, and who I deal with, which is a very small circle, they will know everything about me because I selected them to know everything about me. AV, go ahead.
I will say this, discretion. You know what I mean? For me, people that talk too much, that show receipts, for me, I feel like that's a diversion. I think that your money should speak for itself. A lot of men are leading with their wallets, with what they have. For me, I lead with who I am, not with what I have. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the shit that you see on the internet, I can do. Let's be very clear. However, I don't want to do it. I don't need to do it. Why? Because I lead with who I am. You know what I mean? Those people and the younger people who are following these clout chasing, they're looking for, receipts and everything that these people have. Those receipts have nothing to do with you as a man. So again, what we all preach here, Steve, Rosebud, and EO, we focus on authenticity, thinking for yourself and leading with who you are. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, a man is what's needed to be able to be, to deal with adversity. So I don't talk too much. A lot of people want to know shit, but they can't handle shit. It's kind of like the truth. You know what I'm saying? Women want transparency. They want the truth, but they can't necessarily handle it. So there are levels to this shit. And, I will deem when it's the right time to tell you what needs to be said. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, discretion is something that needs to be done a little bit more because there's some more validity to that.
Back, brother. You're back.
Okay, fathers. Another live stream. Another successful live stream. Thank you. What I appreciate about all the videos, they're all authentic. And this last video, I love it when OGs get together and talk like men. Not none of this internet garbage. Just they talk as men. And we need more men to do that. Fathers of daughters, what I want to say to you is hang in there, keep your heads up, and let's continue to grind. Because the world is not going to be fair to our girls. It's just not going to happen. But as you can see, the more that you may get involved with social media platforms and the internet, the more you're going to see how prevalent and relevant it is for our baby girls to have us in their lives. If we are not in our daughters' lives, fathers of daughters, they cannot be protected and safe. Because there's just too many predators. There's too many things that are out there that are waiting for them. So we have to provide protection and safety for them, fathers. That's what we have to do. That's what we signed up for. That's what we were born with. That's what it is. Okay, fathers, I'm done. I appreciate you. I'm out until next week's live stream. I'll holler at you. Peace.